How long have you known Daniel Wheeler?
So, I mean, I've known of Dan for years because in North Carolina, at least at the time, in North Carolina, the talent of wrestling was very few and far between. It was still very much like an old school guard where it was full of old guys who thought that they were these veterans because they had been doing it on the weekend, maybe 4 times a month for the last 20 years or whatever. So it was this very old guard. And there were only a handful of young guys in North Carolina, and he was one of them. So I had heard about him and heard about how good he was. And we had talked through Facebook Messenger and things like that. But the very first time I met him was my one and only tryout in WWE extra spot in, oh man, I want to say, I'm sure he knows for sure, but it was Richmond, Virginia or something. We had 2 shots. One was a Raw and one was a SmackDown. Raw is a little more hectic at the time than SmackDown was because SmackDown was taped. So we went to Raw and we didn't do anything. We went to SmackDown and Mr. Regal said, I want to see you and I want to see you together, the 2 of us, in a match. So we called nothing. I asked Dan if he minded if I called the match, and he said yes. That's fine. I was the heel, and we got in the ring, and Mr. Eagle said, "You may go 2 minutes, you may go 20 minutes. We don't know. The referee will tell you when it's time to take it home, or he'll tell you to keep going." So we worked this match, man, and called it all in the ring. And Scott Armstrong was our referee. And he said, "This is beautiful. You're doing great, guys. Keep going, keep going." And it got up to about 16 minutes. He said, "Okay, I think they've seen it all. They've seen enough. Let's take it home." And we took it home. And when the 3 happened, huge standing ovation because the wrestlers, man, it was such a surreal feeling. Maybe the most, the happiest I'd ever been in my life. But wrestlers had come from the stands because they were sitting there just talking, and they just started getting slower and slower coming to the ring, and they then surrounded the ring. And by the end of the match, people were like, people were jumping in the ring, hugging us, telling us how great it was, gave us a big standing ovation. And I mean, we did nothing, we did something, but we did nothing like off the top rope, or we were told not to do anything off the top. And then I got offered the chance to go to Tampa for my tryout. Mr. Regal gave Cash the opportunity to go to the UK. And so I got hired at WWE while he was still in the UK. And then things came full circle whenever they hired Cash after he got back.
Yeah, I remember Mr. Regal mentioning Cash going to the UK. First time you met in person, you're putting a ring together. And you have this amazing match. That is what we call chemistry. I know you say you can have chemistry with a lot of different people, but that is quite a moment. So
we shook hands. Said hello. When we first met, we shook hands, said hello. I said, "Are you a Brett guy or a Sean guy?" He said, "Oh, I'm a Brett guy." And I said, "We're going to be friends for a long time." And little did I know. Question. Yeah.
And then you're like, "And what's your name?"
Yes. "Will you marry me?"